legendary Ira Nepus.
Would you like to talk about some of these pictures you brought in?
Okay, let's start. We're going to start with pretty much the beginning. This is a picture of Kid Ory and myself as part of the Southern Hot Jazz Society that was here in Los Angeles, and actually I believe is still alive and well somewhere here in the Los Angeles area. But anyway, this was back around 1960-61. And Kid Ory came in off the train station with his daughter Babette, and the marching band, the New Orleans marching band from Los Angeles went to meet him. And in that marching band were alumni from, well, Duke Ellington. Barney Bigar was in that band, the clarinet player. Sidney Bechet's nephew, Leonard Bechet, played clarinet in that band. Johnny St. Cyr played banjo. Alfred Purnell. There were a lot of offshoots from Louis Armstrong's first Hot Five band in this organization and in this band. So we went to meet Kid Ory at the train station, and the funny story was, though, the cameras, the news was there because it was a very special occasion. Channel 2 was there, and they asked Kid to take out his trombone out of the case and play a few notes for the cameras. And Kid said, no, I don't want to do that. He says, oh, come on, please, Kid, take out your trombone and just play a few notes. And so finally, after quite a bit of coaxing, he opens up his case, and inside of his trombone case were all these empty booze bottles, and they all came falling out onto the cement.
Cat's out of the bag.
But he was able to pull the trombone out of that big case, that big box case he had with all those bottles that were clanking on the cement, and he put his trombone together, and we played, I believe, St. Cole Marching In down the street. And so that's what this photograph is from, playing Saints Go Marching In with Kid Ory.
Precious.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Okay. So this is chronologically going up a few years now. This was around 1970, so probably now we're talking 10 years later. And I'm playing trombone on Woody Herman's band. And we're at the Monterey Jazz Festival. And this was my first Monterey Jazz Festival. I've played quite a few since then. But this was my first time with Woody Herman. In the back of me is Tom Harrell, who was on the band. A lot of great players were on that band. When I first joined the band, Bobby Burgess was playing lead trombone, and he was just a great father figure. I learned a lot from Bobby Burgess about practicing. He gave me a bunch of exercises to play, and Bobby Burgess. Then came Frank Rehak. After Bobby Burgess left, Frank Rehak came on the band. And we were roommates on Woody Herman's band, and a lot of great experience. I learned a lot from Frank. Frank was such a brilliant human being. He was a genius. He was a genius, and he played great trombone. I remember some solos that he was taking. It was just like, oh my gosh, you know, some oh my gosh nights. They were just a thrill to play with Frank. But there were so many great musicians that came on and off that band. I was on the band for almost 2 years, and I remember, you know, just, you know, playing the Elks Lodges and eating at the truck stops, and then we would be playing for the Queen of England in London, and then we'd be eating royalty dinners for the King of Thailand. You know, I mean, it was just, you had the full scope of from A to Z, from lows to highs, and a lot of peak experiences with Woody's band, including the 3 weeks I mentioned with Duke Ellington and Woody Herman at Caesar's Palace together, where we played together side by side every night. And that was all in just a few years' time. You know, I left the band in 1971, and then I came back to Los Angeles, and that's when I started back to freelancing in Los Angeles and working in LA with a lot of great players at that time. This trombone section was together, and that was led by Kai Winding, because he was a wonderful arranger and composer, and in that trombone group was Jimmy Cleveland, you'll see here on the far left, and Frank Rosolino, and Kai, and Bob Brookmeyer. And on this particular day, I was subbing for Bob Brookmeyer, who couldn't be there. And that's Chuck Flores, who's playing drums. And then there's another picture of young bass trombone player Dana Hughes, who unfortunately passed away a few years back, but he lived here in Los Angeles. So anyway, great playing with Kai. I used to sub for Kai. I used to sub for Kai on the Merv Griffin show at that time when it was here. I used to sub for Frank Rosolino whenever he couldn't make certain gigs. So it was just a really great, you know, experience time for me back in like around 1970, 71. And then in 1972, I moved to Hawaii. I just don't know. I just felt like I needed a life change. And so I moved to Honolulu. I went back to school, worked on my degree in music and education at the University of Hawaii. My parents said, you can't be a surf beach bum if you go to Hawaii. You got to do something a little bit more constructive. So I did listen to them, and I got a scholarship with the University of Hawaii Marching Band. And, which was like really great, because I got to meet a lot of young people that were local residents of Honolulu and Hawaii, and it kind of started my life off in Hawaii, and it gave me a second life actually in Hawaii.
Oh, cool.
So when I moved to Hawaii, the first place I went to was this jam session at the Garden Bar at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, which was led by Trummy Young. And I knew Trummy was there. In fact, a lot of people said, when you move to Hawaii, you got to go say hi to Trummy. Well, I actually met Trummy earlier on when he was with Earl Father Hines, and I was working a steady gig at Disneyland back in 1963, 64, before I went into the service. So Trummy, I'd actually met Trummy before I went into the service, and he needed a trombone spray bottle. And so I gave him my trombone spray bottle. And when I moved to Hawaii in 1972, he still had my trombone spray bottle. So we were immediately bonded again.
By the spray bottle.
By the spray bottle. And then Trummy invited me. We talked on the phone, you know, for a while, and then he used to invite me over to his place to come practice together. So we practiced a lot together, and Trummy really helped me quite a bit with my practice routine and my technique, because after Woody's band, my chops were kind of shot, I must admit, you know, just one-nighters, and it was pretty hard to practice and keep your chops up on the road. But anyway, Trummy got me into a really great practice routine. He introduced me to the Schlossberg book for trombone. So we used to go through the Schlossberg every single day, and the first thing we would do were the long tones. And I would do it just the same pacing that Trummy showed me to do it with do the long tones, then mouthpiece away and rest, then go back and continue on. So there was a lot of resting in between doing the long tones. And later on in life, when I met Snooky Young, he and Trummy were roommates on Jimmy Lunsford's band back in the 30s, you know. So Snooky and I used to practice together the same way that he and Trummy used to practice. So it was just reinforcement. This is the way to practice, especially long tones, and pace yourself and make sure you rest in between a lot of these exercises. And you don't start in the high register, you start in the middle to lower register first.
Great information.
Yeah, so
Really
being with Trummy was a godsend. It was so great. I learned a lot about life from him. He was a very spiritual person, and truly loved Trummy, and I miss him a lot. I think about him every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Really. Wow. This is gold, Ira.
Hello, my dear friends of the world, Paul the Trombonist. Thank you so much, Ira. Now, please check out iranepus.com. You'll find all his recordings. I recommend his Music -1 books. They're amazing to play along with. Also, if you haven't already, pick up his soft tone mute. It's definite for any trombone arsenal. Would like to thank the viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It's been overwhelming, the great positive response we've been getting on the show. I would like to thank the patrons, BAC Music. The next episode, we welcome the legendary Dick Nash to Bone Masters, so that's going to be a really great time. You're going to love the stuff that he talks about. He shares so much knowledge, and it's going to be, we're truly blessed to have that going on. Be sure to check out the Bone Masters TV. It's facebook.com/Bone Masters TV. On Facebook, and that's going to have all the updates for the Bone Masters, and that's been cool because, you know, I can't really keep in touch in real time on YouTube. I just upload the videos there, but if you go on the Facebook page, then you get to really see what's going on. I post the pictures when I'm filming people. I ask questions. So like the page. There'll be a link down in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, Paul the Trombonist Fans. That URL on Facebook is my other thing, and I've been putting up videos on there too. So you guys are the best. And this is how we do things around here. Is be the best. So there's only one thing left to do, and that is
You can tune a piano, but you're not doing a fish.